Welcome to the Geek 101 podcast, episode 223, Primal. I'm Ariel and
And I'm Andy Bowman.
and today we are talking about the Adult Swim Cartoon Network show Primal, which is by famous cartoon filmmaker, animator, Genndy Tartakovsky. I don't know how we would describe him. But he is the creator of such shows as like Samurai Jack and the Star Wars Clone Wars. So he's got quite the resume there. But before that, we do have news. And Andy, why don't you start us off with a big piece of geeky news?
Okay, Zoe Kravitz is going to be playing Selena Kyle in The Batman.
Yeah, so what makes this so cool and so interesting is that Christopher Nolan came out previously, and I didn't know this. He came out previously and said that she was too urban to play the role of Catwoman in his Dark Knight movie. Of course, she is.
Did he say that, or was it a producer?
It might have been a producer. I thought he said it.
Because I think she's the one who came out and said that she was told she was too urban.
Okay, I get that. I don't know. I like this casting. I think it's appropriate. We do have the Eartha Kitt, I think that's her name, Catwoman from the Batman 60s. So this kind of, well, not only that, but from, I think it's Batman Year One, also has an African American or a black Catwoman. She might not be African. So the precedent's there. She's a good actress. She's beautiful. She definitely feels like she could be a socialite. And it also, if they want to go the route of like, sex worker and stuff like that, and or champion for women's rights, things like that, like all that works with somebody like Zoe Kravitz. What are your thoughts on this?
First of all, I think it all works with Zoe Kravitz, but also, I'm thinking of like, I've always thought of Gotham as Chicago.
Sure, yeah.
Because the widespread corruption and whatnot. And for me, like, if Gotham is Chicago, there's a significant proportion of, black people in Chicago.
Well, no, Andy, like, no matter what, if you want to do Chicago, Detroit, Newark, Camden, like it's,
basically,
all of these, yeah.
I mean, basically any city is going to have way more minorities than are represented by the movies. So this is just great to me. Like, yeah, go ahead. Put, Jeffrey Wright's in there. We know that Rihanna is rumored still to be Poison Ivy. Like, great. Make this feel like an actual city and not just like a bunch of white people.
Yeah, but here's my concern with Jeffrey Wright and Rihanna and of course Zoe Kravitz. There are certain optics here where, Catwoman and Poison Ivy are playing either criminals, like straight criminals, or romantic interests, or people like obsessed with Batman. Jeffrey Wright is playing a, the was it? Oh, commissioner. I was going to say sheriff, and I knew that wasn't the word. The commissioner of a city rampant with crime. And if you
wait, has that been confirmed?
I don't think so, but the rumors are pretty strong, and the rumors have always been pretty spot on with this movie, right? Like every time the rumor came out for a casting, like it's happened shortly after. So I don't like the optics of like, hey, let's get all of these black actors, all of these black characters, and then have like this rich, white, handsome, like vigilante running around, either like romantically wooing like a black woman, beating up on a black woman, or saving like the black commissioner city because he can't do the job on his own. Like there are certain optics behind that, that a room of maybe white producers, like cis white producers, would not think about. But I wouldn't feel comfortable with it. Some people may think that I'm just making this up. This is a thing. And no matter how much some people want to dismiss it, I think it's a concern.
We heard it here first from Ariel. Batman cannot date a black woman.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. Batman cannot help the police. He's not allowed, and he can't date black women.
One thing though, I hope this isn't a bunch of producers being like, what's popular nowadays? You know, that Black Panther movie was pretty popular.
Right. You know, that's another thing that it's just like, oh.
Get me a bunch of black actors. We're gonna make this movie make $1 billion. Like,
See, yeah. Hollywood's terrible. It's a terrible, terrible system.
yeah. So that's one of my just cautionary parts. Another part of this though is, if this is the case, I want Batman. I don't want to try origin stories for all these villains at the same time.
Yeah, that's a concern here. Maybe the audience, or maybe the director Matt Reeves trusts that. He trusts that the audience knows Catwoman, Poison Ivy, and all these other people. I don't think the audience knows them all that well.
Here's part of the thing, right? Catwoman has been told multiple times.
Yeah.
Batman's Rogues Gallery almost doesn't need an introduction, right? A lot of people know who the Riddler is. Like, most Batman villains that were in the 1960s one have enough of a social resonance. I don't think that they need anything more than just, this is the Riddler.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
It also depends on how grounded they are. Like, if the Riddler is, over the top and campy, I think that works a lot better, and I think that resonates a lot more. If Catwoman, same thing, right? If she's dropping a lot of cat puns and in general is just fun to watch, I don't think that you need the origin stories, really. But we'll see. If this is also a Batman detective story where he's trying to find information and lead up to a big villain, and he's really just kind of like shaking down these different ancillary villains, that would also be interesting.
Yeah, I think that's the route they're going to go. I really hope they don't do that campy, silly stuff. I'm just not, I'm not about that. We got kind of real silly humor in The Last Jedi, and it was, I personally don't want, I don't like crazy high production value and incredibly corny, silly jokes. It just doesn't fit to me. It's not my thing. But that's either here nor there. Zoe Kravitz in a vacuum, and of course with Matt Reeves, who's proven to be a very talented filmmaker, is looking to be a very, very good Catwoman. I'm just hoping we don't get some weird basketball scene like in the Halle Berry movie.
Oh man. And at this rate, it looks Halle Berry might appear in Crisis on Infinite Earths.
Yeah, all that news is crazy. We do have on the other spectrum, the other side of the spectrum, we have Marvel news that Liv Tyler and Thunderbolt Ross may be in the She-Hulk TV series. Andy, what do you know about this?
I just know that they might be in the She-Hulk TV series, which is great for me because I don't think there's any character better to try to defend the U.S. military in a trial than Thunderbolt Ross.
See, I really hated his inclusion in Civil War. I think it really undermined what they are trying to say, and you kind of, by bringing him into it and talking about things like responsibility and stuff like that, you've really just, what that did to me in that film was it made me unable to take Iron Man's side. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah. No, I can get it. It kind of tainted the actual side of Iron Man by having Thunderbolt Ross be who he is.
Yeah, it was really not smart to have a guy like that, and stuff like that. It's just, he is such an irresponsible and full of hypocrisy. I don't know the word. I think character hypocritical. Thank you, Andy. That it's just man, I don't need this guy being serious because he's such a hypocrite, and they don't play him up to be one. They don't comment on his hypocrisy in any way. Um, I'm curious as to the direction the She-Hulk series is going to take, because in the modern day iterations, unless she's in a team book, the She-Hulk books are very, very like silly and fun.
I don't know. I'm on board, and I'm also, pleased with the idea that we might finally get something with the leader from that Hulk movie.
Yeah, that would really interest me. I am kind of sort of interested in a Red Hulk, Red She-Hulk type thing, but also that would be too much for me in a singular series in one season, you know, because in the comic books, Thunderbolt Ross is the Red Hulk, and Betty Ross is the Red She-Hulk.
Right. Well, let's go ahead and actually discuss the other piece of news that really pertains to this, that Kevin Feige has been promoted to Chief Creative Officer and will now oversee Marvel Studios, Marvel Television, and Marvel Family Entertainment.
Yeah, this is pretty crazy. I am someone who really likes singular creative vision. So I'm for this. And now I might not like every choice that Kevin Feige makes, but also I'm hoping there will be consistency amongst the films and TV shows with him at the helm.
Right. I mean, and this is certainly a hell of a lot better than having Perlmutter
Oh,
at
good
any
lord,
helm.
that was like every time something terrible happened, like you could always trace it back to his obsession with one thing or another.
Right. With the Inhumans, really.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's so bad. Uh, Kevin Feige deserves whatever role he wants in the Marvel machine. He is undoubtedly, um, the the main cog for their success outside of, let's say, Robert Downey Jr. Right? But even then, he's more important because Iron Man can be great, but without consistency amongst all the movies, it's just a great Iron Man franchise and not this crazy 20+ movie, you know, movie kingdom he's made, movie universe he's made.
Right. We also have breaking news that Neil Patrick Harris is joining the cast of The Matrix 4.
Yeah, that's really interesting to me. He doesn't fit the type of actor you would put in the Matrix. Maybe he's just reprising his role from Starship Troopers as that'd be so funny if he's the telepath guy from Starship Troopers.
Yeah, we've got to do a retro review on Starship Troopers.
Oh yeah, I've read the book. I could reread it too. It's a really great underrated type of sci-fi classic.
Yeah. Sorry, I just saw that and I was just like, wait, what?
Yeah. Also, the guy from who played Black Manta in Aquaman.
Oh yeah. Yaha Abdul Mateen.
Yes, he is cast. I think they're saying in a lead role, not the lead role, but a lead role.
Good. We need people who aren't Keanu Reeves and Lawrence Fishburne if they're gonna keep making more movies after this.
Yeah, absolutely, totally agree. What's some other news that we've got here, Andy?
Okay, Venom 2 has can't even take this. All right, Venom 2's got another villain in Shriek, the female symbiote.
And this is the least exciting news. I'm really frustrated with America that we gave Venom so much money, and they think it's okay to be making movies of that quality.
Hey man, you know, yeah. Do I have it right though that Shriek is a female symbiote?
Yes, I think it's the yellow orange one.
Okay. Whew. Yeah, no. Oh, I have this pulled up. It is not a symbiote. She is not a symbiote.
What is it?
Wait. Okay, but she does get enhanced with the symbiote. She looks like a member of Kiss or like Elvira.
Okay.
Huh.
Oh, I was wrong. I mean,
Oh,
even
she is a
less.
lover of Cletus Cassidy. That's why.
Oh, all right, whatever. I honestly like that post-credit scene was so god awful. It's really hard for me
Dude, I
to
already
care.
think that Carnage is there and is actually just the wig.
Okay, that's interesting.
I mean, there's got to be a reason for that, right? Like
No, I just think
that
that
terrible wig.
they're really bad filmmakers.
No. And of course, Ruben Fleischer is going around doing Zombieland double tap press and mentioned that yeah, there were plans for a crossover with Spider-Man. I'm sure he is on the pulse of this because he is not directing Venom 2, so I don't know why he felt the need to say anything.
Yeah, you're right. He's just trying to get in the news cycle for his current movie.
Yeah, yeah.
That's all it is.
That and the only other kind of interesting news was that Ryan Reynolds posted a picture of him in front of Marvel Studios.
Great. I'm not about. I don't care about these.
I mean, it's just another Deadpool. That's probably what we're getting. He's probably going in to talk about it.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Um, but I think that's all the news we have for this week. So let's talk about our main topic today. But before we do that, Andy, what are some ways that listeners can help promote the show?
Okay, guys. Go to iTunes, rate and review us. That is the pretty much the number one way you can help us. If you have not gone onto iTunes, if you have not given us a 5-star rating and reviewed us, there are other ways that you can help us if you have, but please go on. We're still at 74 beautiful, beautiful reviews. Love to get to 100 before year's end. It's not looking like it's going to happen, so Ariel might not have to watch Batman versus Superman again. So, maybe Ariel is editing this plea out of the episode, so that way, if you guys don't hear it, it can't happen, but I'm still going to try. Other ways you can help us, if you have already given us a review and don't feel like making another iTunes account to rate and review us, you can just let a friend know about us. Just, be that annoying friend. Hey, yes, I listen to podcasts, and you know what? There's this really great podcast called the Geek 101 podcast.
Yeah, word of mouth is actually one of the best ways for a podcast to grow. And so if you know of somebody who likes to listen to podcasts, why don't you go to them and say, hey, you might like this one, like Andy said. So
you can also tweet at your favorite podcasts that are much more popular than us, asking for us to be guests on them.
Sure. Yeah, that'd be awesome. And maybe if you put that in their heads, we could also reach out and see if we can make that happen. Maybe, our pleas will also they'll take into account our pleas for us to be on the show.
We're coming for you, Mark Maron.
Yeah, Bill Burr and stuff like that. All right, let's get into a should you watch of the Cartoon Network Adult Swim show Primal. Andy, what did you think about Genndy Tartakovsky's Primal?
Okay, so Primal is a very interesting and beautifully animated show. We should probably go ahead and just kind of discuss what it's about first.
Sure. I'll give you a quick 2 sentences. You have a caveman named Spear, who is unnamed in the show, and a dinosaur named Fang, who's also unnamed in the show because nobody talks in the show, trying to survive in the wild, in the Ice Age, in the ancient times.
Yeah, so this is not for everybody.
Absolutely not.
You're right. A complete lack of dialogue makes it hard for me to, recommend to just anybody. And then there's the blood and just general disturbing nature of a lot of the stuff.
Extreme violence from the get-go.
Yeah.
The violence pretty extreme.
Right. All that being said, I really loved it.
Yeah, so I think it's tough. We're doing a should you watch, but I think if you watch the trailer, and you know that nobody talks, like it tells you everything you need to know about the show.
Right. Absolutely. If you like Samurai Jack, I think you need to watch this. I think, especially if you like the bloodier fifth season of Samurai Jack, you need to watch this.
Yeah, I think if you like Samurai Jack and you don't mind a non-traditional way of telling stories, then for sure. Because like you and I have both said, it's not a very traditional show at all.
Right. And also, if you like either westerns or samurai movies, like this, to me, this feels a lot like that, where there's the moments of intense quiet, and you kind of look at the characters and watch as they kind of decide what to do. There's I mean, it's only 5 episodes long. The entire run of the show is 5 20-minute episodes. So it makes it really easy to recommend. They are releasing a movie version of this for consideration in the Oscars. So, I mean, if you're in LA or New York, that might be a good use of your time to go watch all 5 episodes.
Yeah, I wish I had known
minutes.
that. Or I wish that had been released prior. I would go watch this in theaters after watching like the first episode.
Yeah. Man, it's so bizarre because this is all visual storytelling. There is no dialogue to talk about.
Yeah.
This is a weird thing to do an episode on now that we've seen it.
Yeah, I expected there, one, to be maybe more episodes, two, to have some sort of plot or story to kind of try to dive into, and it's not. It is what it is, and it's great. It's great. I think it's perfect in what it is and what it's trying to do. And so there's a lot of value in that. But still, this is going to be a short episode, and it's okay because I'm exhausted. But I definitely think that this is something that not a lot of people know of, because like I mentioned it to my friends and they're like, "What is it?" And they're big like Samurai Jack fans, so I definitely think it's worth the discussion, even though we don't have too much to talk about.
Yeah. So the very first episode, within like what is it, like within 10 minutes, you already see how brutal and bloody this world is. This world is it's definitely not historically accurate.
It's unforgiving.
Yeah,
is the word I like to use.
I mean, it shows you, Spear. He's got his family. A very large T-Rex shows up. An entire pack of T-Rexes, right?
Yeah.
Show up, and they quickly devour his family.
Yeah, I was genuinely like shocked almost.
Yeah. And then as Spear's going around kind of dealing with this, you see a mommy T-Rex and her two babies, who are also promptly devoured by the same massive T-Rex.
Right.
It hits you right in your heartstrings, and this is the story of these two unlikely friends, a boy and his dog, a caveman and his T-Rex, just going from scenario to scenario, trying to stay alive together. I really wish there was more to that, but the second episode is called River of Snakes, which is terrifying.
Yeah, it's really good too. It's a great.
Yeah,
it's so visually stunning. The whole thing is so visually stunning.
Yeah, and I think that's really all I can say about it. Is it's beautiful. There's this feeling of like this is a very cinematic show. It is in an aspect ratio that makes you think it's widescreen. The movement of the characters is perfect for what it is. The movement's smooth. The action is very good. It actually reminds me of fans of the show have watched the new Dragon Ball Super movie, Broly. There's a lot of kineticness to their movements. And the Fang, the T-Rex, moves beautifully and very believably.
Yeah, there is a level of detail and I don't want to say effort, but there's definitely a level of detail put into the animation here that was not existent in either Samurai Jack or the Clone Wars series. They've decided to go a different direction, and it really just works. There are the animation is reminiscent of what you might be expecting from his previous work, but it's evolved. It's definitely something new and something different from Tartakovsky.
Right. If you've watched the Clone Wars recently, the way I always bring this up whenever I talk about the Clone Wars, the way General Grievous moves is incredibly believable, and Tartakovsky has this way of making creatures that should not exist move in believable ways. And this, not only does the T-Rex move in believable ways, but there are fantastical creatures that also move in believable ways and are equally as brutal and terrifying as anything that Tartakovsky has made.
Yeah, what I love about Primal, it's that it doesn't, much like Samurai Jack, right? It doesn't behold itself to any sort of limitation whatsoever. In terms of the world that they have built and the creatures that they have decided to do, it's basically like, hey, let's do these monsters and let's do these monsters. It really doesn't matter, right? They're just trying to tell a story and to be visually stunning and dynamic and all that stuff, and it really just works.
Yeah, man, I'm trying to think of the fourth episode. The introduction of one of the creatures is absolutely terrifying, and you get to understand why all the other creatures are terrified of it.
Yes, yeah. I haven't seen episode 5, but I'm sure I'll get there soon. But it's really it's better than I thought it was going to be, and I had pretty high expectations.
Yeah, I think Tartakovsky has me sold. I kind of want to go back and watch the Hotel Transylvania movies now. I mean, this is that good. The final season of Samurai Jack is that good. He's clearly getting more rights to just do kind of what he wants.
Yeah, he took quite a long break. He also made a ton of money with those Transylvania movies, so you can't really. You're just like, all right, go make your money, dude. Go pull an Adam Sandler and do a dumb project with friends and make the money. But I'm glad that he now has that license to do these things.
Yeah, absolutely. And plus, he doesn't have to kind of edit himself like he would if this was on Toonami, right? This world is brutal, and it's so beautifully brutal.
Yeah, I think this is exactly as close to his vision as we could expect. I don't think he was given any limitations. I think, oh, you only want to make it a couple episodes? Sure, let's give you your free reign to do what you want.
Yeah. Man, Ariel, do we have anything else to talk about with this? Because
it's
so hard.
There's not much to talk about. All we can do is kind of compare it to other things that you might like. The obvious one is Samurai Jack. Is there anything else that the audience should be in mind of when considering watching Primal?
Okay, this is another I think Conan.
Okay, yeah, like old school Conan, if you like those comics as well, is a good one to think of.
Right. Also, Tartakovsky worked on a show that only got a pilot, but it was aired quite a bit on Adult Swim back in the mid-aughts, called Korgoth of Barbaria, which is pretty much Conan.
Okay. I've never heard of it.
It was basically Conan, but, Adult Swim, and just as bloody as this. And it
Interesting.
was, yeah, I mean, it was just a barbarian who, the pilot's on YouTube, and you should definitely take a look at it. You know, it. Oh, the movie Heavy Metal, or the animated movie Heavy Metal. If anybody's seen that and enjoys that, they would probably also really like that.
What is that?
Heavy Metal was like, it was this magazine. Um, if you just Google heavy metal film, Ariel, like
Okay.
you'll see and recognize just the kind of thing that it is. It's a bunch of short stories in all these like fantastical worlds that are kind of just right off the cover of 80s heavy metal albums.
Sure. Okay. Interesting.
Uh,
I think I have heard of it before. Um, I think if you like, I think if you've read a comic called Headlopper, I think you'd like this. I think if you like some Hellboy stories, I think you'd certainly enjoy this. His the art's got a very Mignola esque feel to it, and Mike Mignola, of course, the creator of Hellboy, who many people hold in the highest regard for comic book art, and I think for good reason because he's very very good. But that's sort of like stoic hero fighting like awesome monsters. Like that's exactly what this is. Now Hellboy, of course, has more of a narrative to it, and that this is not. But I think in terms of just like tonally, visually, those are definitely the same things that the same type of things you should be looking at.
yeah. Also, if you like some of the earlier Clint Eastwood westerns, I think that's a good. It might not be a good comparison, but the idea of just a stoic hero kind of walking by himself
Mm-hmm.
comes into a situation, and it's just the story of him and his partner surviving the situation.
Right, right. There's a great comic a couple of years ago called World War Hulk, which featured um, Steve Rogers writing Devil Dinosaur, which is this gigantic red Tyrannosaurus Rex. That is reminiscent of this. But yeah, there's not too much more to say. It's such a simple yet perfectly executed show.
Right. Then and that's another thing is I mean, this is it's one and done. Like you can watch 10 minutes and know if you're going to finish this.
Oh, for sure.
And that's kind of part of the brilliance of it too. You can just look and figure it out. I don't think there will be any question in your mind if you want to finish this or not.
Oh, for sure. It's so it's hard. It's just simple. It's simple and it works.
Yeah, and I will say that the Ariel, since you haven't seen it, the fifth episode is by far the most brutal. Um, yeah, they also have amazing names for these episodes. River of Snakes, A Cold Death, Under the Blood Moon, and then the last one is Rage of the Ape Men.
Yeah, so this reminded me of a the spirit of Cormac McCarthy channeled into a cartoon.
Ooh, yeah, no, that's really good. Yeah, the completely unforgiving world.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. It's the unforgiving, brutally violent world of Cormac McCarthy channeled into now Cormac McCarthy gives you like incredible visuals through text, but obviously this is just taking that spirit, turning it to 11 and putting it in a caveman, in a Cro-Magnon setting.
Yeah, so let's just continue. Should you watch this? I think you will know. You know what? You don't even need to watch 10 minutes of the first episode. Just watch the trailer.
Yeah, just watch the trailer. That's all you need to do is watch the trailer, figure out if you think you would like it and you know that like nobody talks in it, then you'll like this.
Yeah,
For sure.
And the thing is like the Tartakovsky is expressive enough that these characters can actually show real emotion without betraying what they are. Like Fang is actually able, like you can kind of see the gears
Yeah.
going in a dinosaur. Like you
Right.
know, the dinosaur is not grinning. At no point does it ever do that. There's also some really great scenes of levity that feel really natural.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Well, yeah, definitely just watch the trailers. All you need to know. All right. So what are we gonna do next week? Are we doing Zombieland 2?
We can do that, or we can do Watchmen. Watchmen is getting really good reviews.
Okay, I just don't know if we should. How many
Wait.
episodes will be out by the time? Yeah, I don't know if we
just
should
one.
wait.
We-
Maybe
we-
we'll do a 15-minute, like 15 to 20 minutes. Should you watch on Watchmen episode
Yeah.
1?
We can do Should You Watch on Watchmen, and also cover Zombieland if you want.
Yeah, we'll see if we can. Yeah, I think I have time to go watch that. Yeah, that works for me.
Okay. I also think I'm gonna try to go see Jojo Rabbit this weekend.
Ah, yeah, I've heard good things about Jojo Rabbit. All right, so we've got it down packed for next week, at least an idea of it. Andy, this is one of our shortest episodes ever, and that's okay. Honestly, listeners, if you like the shorter format, let us know. Andy and I can tend to ramble. But Andy, do you have homework for the listener?
Yeah. I do have homework. Okay. So my homework's a little abstract. Go and try to experience some music that you've always heard about but never really listened to the full album. I recently sat down and listened to the entire Beach Boys album Pet Sounds after hearing how it's one of the greatest things ever created for music, and it was brilliant.
Interesting.
So just try experiencing some music that you've never experienced in the full album form. Don't put it on shuffle. Let it ride and just kind of feel it. Biggie Smalls' first album is also a beautiful work of art that ends very startlingly if you actually listen to it in order.
Yeah, so I think musicians put a lot of care into the ebb and flow and lyrical linking of their albums. And I just think too many audiences are just playlist makers in their own right? And it can be really frustrating. One of my favorite albums is by Reliant K, and the ebb and flow of that album is really good. I think if you're a Justin Timberlake fan, if you listen to any of his albums, he literally puts intros and outros and preludes to, interludes and preludes and all of those really things to weave the album so that at no point is there not at no point, but like most of the time, the songs weave in and out of each other instead of song end, 1 second pause, song starts. And I think if you're like a big music fan, you know, right? You know when when an artist you enjoy, loves to do this. But if not, right? If you're just a person who's like, oh, I love this song and this song and this song and this song, I think that's a great piece of homework, Andy.
Yeah. And specifically, if you want to listen to the entire Blue album by Weezer, that's definitely a recommendation.
Yeah. All right. My homework this week is a comic book I mentioned before called Headlopper. It is a comic created by Andrew McLean and Mike Spencer. You are basically reading the story about a a warrior who is known as Headlopper. The art and coloring is very Hellboy-esque, which is why I suggested it. But also the action, it goes pages and pages without any dialogue because you're watching this character go, the Headlopper, Norgal's the Headlopper, run around and slaying monsters. It's kind of like Beowulf, the old Beowulf monster slayer king, blah 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 blah. It's a lot like that, and if you enjoy that, if you enjoyed Primal, if you enjoy Conan, you would definitely enjoy Headlopper.
Awesome. Also, we'll be revealing on the Halloween episode the top 10 scary movies as voted by our beautiful fans that we love very much.
Yeah.
But if you haven't gotten around to it for some time, like immediately write it up, and we might be able to add your votes.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Andy, before we sign off, remember we'll talk to listeners next week about Zombieland 2 and perhaps the Watchmen pilot. But before we do get out of here, where can people find you online?
You can find me online on Twitter at Hebrews Paleo.
All right, you can find me at DreadPirate. You can find us at Geek101 Podcast on Twitter and Facebook and Patreon. Email us geek101pod@gmail.com. That's all we have for today. Class dismissed.